once the 53-man roster is set, who do you envision will be in the tight end room, and how many tight ends do you think the 49ers will keep on the 53-man active roster?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep three tight ends. I think the question is, how is Charlie Warner going to be? If Charlie Warner starts the season on the pup list, that means he doesn't count against this active 53-man roster. So they'll end up having actually four tight ends around. But I think that Charlie Warner would be one of them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that right now he ends up on the pup list to start the season. That would mean he's out the first 6 games of the year, and you're going to roll with somebody else. I think Tyler Croft is tight end too. From everything I've seen today, George Kittle didn't practice. Croft was taking first team reps. So Croft is tied in too. I think after that, it ends up being Ross Dwelley. Dwelley's blocking has been better in training camp so far, and he's still a threat in the passing game. But you're right. Tanner Hudson has looked pretty good in the passing game as well, and his blocking hasn't been too bad either. He's definitely pressing. He made another really nice play today as well. And then Troy Fumagali's kind of fallen off. He's a good blocker, but in the receiving game, he hasn't been a threat at all over the last few days of training camp. So I think that's kind of how it goes right now. Kittle, Tyler Croft, Ross Dwelley, Tanner Hudson, Troy Fumagalli, and all the while that depends on Warner being on the pup list. And if he is, then Dwelley makes the team. If Warner's not on the pup list, I think Ross Dwelley ends up getting released.
Wow. And I would say, from watching Ross Dwelley, for me, he's just a jag. He's just another guy. He doesn't really excel in the passing game, or for whatever reason, Jimmy never threw to him when he was in there. For whatever reason, Jimmy never threw to him. I just don't see. I would be willing to bring in, Tanner Hudson on to replace Ross Dwelley. But we know that Shanahan values, run blocking, and we do that a lot here on the 49ers. So you got to be able to run block if you're a tight end. So it'll be interesting to see, how that plays out. And unfortunately, Jordan Matthews, he was converting to a tight end. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL, and he'll be out for the rest of the year. So that's another player that, unfortunately won't be able to make an impact, even though it was a long shot for Jordan Matthews to make the 53-man active roster. But we know he's a pretty good receiver at the tight end position. But unfortunately, he suffered, an injury.